my proportion. So I usually just go half, 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 half. And I, that just helps me get the proportions. And I don't necessarily do exactly the same size that this is, or exactly how the photos is obviously. So this is the second photo, and they're, you know, they're not really great photos. And if I need to look at the photo, I would look at it on the computer, because it's just better. So I do like a combination of, when I'm drawing it out, I'm looking at my gridded sheet of paper, and then when I'm painting it, I'll look at the photograph that's on my computer. The light is better. That's photograph. I'll pass it on. And this is the third one. So, and then the coffee cup was a lesson that I had in my files from Bruce Marion. Those of you who were here during the pandemic, when he did an online presentation, 1920. I think maybe it was, so this was one, these were the cups. He did, the coffee cup, so I did the coffee cups. So these are the photographs. And then, so she talked about, I remember in the first lesson, she talked about the key factors of creating, simplifying the dramatic skill like things. So she paints really, really bright colors and really broad strokes. She uses big brushes. She uses like 1 inch or 2 inch brushes. And she just does very chunky strokes on her canvas. It was really interesting to watch because she has such control over that big brush. So I tried it with a 2 inch and a half brush, and I had to put it down. It was too big for me. And she acknowledged at one point that not everybody wants to paint. She calls it a folder fast forward thing. So I just take my number 10, number 8 brushes, which are more like that. And sometimes she how big was the border? This was 12 by 12. Oh, yes. Yes. She's amazing. She takes her brush and she takes the side of it. She just kind of, it's just amazing to watch her. I mean, I can't even demonstrate it. She like goes in like this and she moves her arm all these ways. And I'm like, no, that's not me. I can't do it like that. So, you know, I had to find a way to make it. And I learned some really wonderful blending techniques from Bruce. So I use more blending with dry brush and such. Is there anyone in here that wants to do clothes? Oh, okay, great. So, so she talked about the elements of how to simplify your life by the way you use light. The elements of light and shadow, how light and shadow shades work in tandem with each other to create an illusion of depth, techniques to simplify the values for contrast. These are just a few of like what she would. I love that she had this little 20-minute PowerPoint thing where she talked about these basics because I had actually never had that in all the classes that I took when we were talking about video. Bruce does as he's demonstrating, but it's not quite the same. And then she said, some people, I've never painted where I set up a still life. I did go to a class where there were flowers set up and I painted that. Teacher set it up. But she didn't, she only had ambient light. So what Patty does is she sets up, and I'll show you the picture. She sets up pearl light and puts it in this picture that's basically a cardboard box with just 3 sides. So she'll put it in a cardboard box, you probably know all this carrot with 3 sides, and she'll have the light coming from one place. And that face casts the shadow and all that. So at some point I'm going to try that. Because I was straightforward. Anyway, then she did this is really amazing. She gave us this, you know, sphere, a picture. What I did is they were on the computer and I don't know how to do screenshots, so I just take my phone and I just go like hopefully I'll screenshot this. So this is just the light side, the highlights, the midtones, the lights and the darks, the shadow side, She talked about form shadow, core shadow, reflective light, cast shadow, and occlusion, which, what is occlusion? You know,
It means blocking.
occlusion,
It means blocking the light.
it's what?
Blocking the light. Not
Blocking
getting.
it. Thank you. I don't remember talking. And she, so there's this little up here. And then she has another one with this, with the pair, which is kind of, you know, she just had a lot of examples. And then what she does is she does a value study. Not just a value sketch, but a value painting. And so this is just an example that of her value painting, and she paints from her value painting. Now, I'm too lazy to do that, even though I know. If she acknowledged that there at the very last lesson this time, she did not do a value painting. She acknowledged that some people just don't want them. So I don't know, you know, I think, oh, I should do a value painting. I just don't. What I'll do, what Bruce would do is he would give us a photograph of what we were painting in black and white. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the photograph and I'll just I did black and white. But I haven't done that many still lifes, so I was very, very happy with the results. And I had a ball with the colors. These were just canvas boards that I had around, because I mostly paint on canvas, and at some point I'll get them framed. This was one that I have painted on, and I can pass this around too, if they come up and look at it. But there's some texture here because I painted and done some collaging, and then I just gestured over it and decided that I like the texture. It's not another texture out. And what I did with a lot of these is, and Patty did a lot also, is like this has an underpainting of the pink underneath. So I would draw it and then I would lightly with a wash paint, and then have some of it show through in the background. That was new for me to paint, showing the underpainting through. This one, I think I forgot to show the orange through, so I just added. I got carried away. So you did that. Yeah, I did. And the acrylic's pretty easy that way. Those, I didn't even put it on the back or on the whole thing. I put it on the whole thing. But yeah, so I painted the whole thing with like a light orange. And this one, I can't remember what I did for that one. Yeah, and then this I just changed a lot in, not the composition, but in Bruce's painting, he's kind of stuck with the browns. And I just can't do that, right? Because however, I love blues and so I did a different background. And I had a lot of fun, so I'm thinking at some point, I have a lot of these little 8x8s. I'm doing like a series of coffee cups. Anyway, any questions?
Were there hints and tips about arranging your still lifes? Because that,
yeah,
you know, that's important.
that isn't one where she did not talk about that. She just talked about the lighting. And the other thing is, one of the things she does this. This has to do with your question, but it's kind of interesting. She works with golden open acrylics, which dry slower than regular acrylics. And she puts her paints in a bead box. I was gonna bring the picture. It's a plastic box with little sections that people put the beads in, the beaters, and everything. And she just puts her paints in there. And they last up to, you know, they last okay because there's a lid. And you can cover acrylics, like what I'm doing. So I work with a paper palette on a clipboard. And if I know I'm gonna paint the next day or the next day after that, and I have a lot of paints down, I spray them and then I cover it with saran wrap. And I come back the next day and spray it with water. Yeah. But she had this blue box, which in some ways makes it easy because then you don't have to squeeze out, you know, kind of edits. Maybe she paints it.
I use a squeezes directly on.
Yes, sure, why not? One solid color underpainting, or did you do like
lights and darks of that color?
I mixed colors, so, I was very loose with whether there were lights and dark, probably, yeah. Yeah, I think what I did for this is I mixed quinacridone magenta with some white and maybe something else, you know, and that's the thing, sometimes I should take notes just what I'm doing with this kind of. Is- Any other questions? Thanks.
Well, it's very interesting to see you do that because we're used to your landscapes, your cityscapes, your water.
Yeah, I know.
So, wow.
Yeah. I'll leave them up, he's not gonna be in your way or anything.
No.
Now, should we,
Wait for the,
yeah, do we want to do the, do you want more people brought while you get ready?
yeah,
Yeah, so.
how many people brought it today? You can- Maybe they can do it,
Yeah.
Anil.
Yeah.
They can do it, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Couple of minutes.
While you get ready.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, there's something, no, the same little ones, so 4 or 5.
I got this on a classroom, and it's still doing online? Yeah. Yeah, online. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's. This is my,
That's my thing.
Okay.
I went to Costa Rica in February, March. Yeah. Oh, Monterey.
Monterey.
Sitting in the like the little patio of our Airbnb. I was painting this a month ago. And he was interested. And I actually have a video I can pass around that he gets too close and I get afraid. Oh, you didn't post him out with you. It was just him and me, nobody else was there at the time. Interesting. Yeah, and then he backed off and he went on a tree.
Yeah. I always do that. Is that good?
Yeah.
Was that, was that a photograph that you took?
I have a video, I can pass it around. Yeah.
Were you just there? We got that. Oh, wow.
So I started the teacher in plein air, but I didn't finish it until last year, so. It took me to finish it.
No, that can you wanna talk about it?
With the flag, American flag, well, there is a flag in it. You want to know.
This is the Thanksgiving table centerpiece for our Thanksgiving.
Beautiful.
Thanksgiving flowers, and it just came back from the Central Coast Watercolor Society show down there. Visiting some friends, yeah, so it was, that's a very nice group down there, it's a small community, but what they really support their artists.
Memorial Bay,
Yeah.
okay.
But anyway, yeah, I was just down there to pick this up, the flag was kind of, I was fixing all the flowers up and my husband supported a lot of veterans groups, you know, send a little check here and there. They always send her these flags, and so when I was going through the stuff, I ran into this cache with flags. And I happened to probably when I was doing the okay, so I started. Actually, that's really appropriate, you know, because Thanksgiving is our American holiday. So, anyway, that's the story of this.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Eric, you want to talk about yours?
Yeah.
Flowers. I got this.
This is watercolor. It's, there's a park over in Pacifica. And then. Very pretty, they improved it the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of picnic areas. Seniors are free, which is nice, and, great walking trails. And if you wanna climb hills, you can get up to the top and have a great view. I don't climb hills anymore, so. Yeah. Last week I painted in gouache, this week I painted,
So
the
this
week
is,
before,
this is water.
this is watercolor. I should have brought the one I did in gouache
Excellent.
next time. Yeah,
Is it a different paint? Is it a different paint?
gouache is a heavier paint, it's more opaque, and it will cover one color on top of another. You could go back in, if you didn't like this tree, you could paint, put white over it, and then put another color on top.
Don't you also have acrylic?
Sorry?
We paint with acrylic also.
A little bit, I actually during COVID, I was painting in oil at home in the studio. I realized once I take this on, that I had something else underneath.
Well, that's. And it doesn't leave through.
No, this is 300-pound paper. It's heavy. And as I remember, this is white. So I'm sure which one's gonna face out when I print it. I think I'm in open studio, so I think this is gonna be the one. Yeah, yeah. I wasn't doing wash over in Hawaii, just watercolor.
One good trick with wash is for watercolor painters. You get the white wash and you don't leave all the whites you wanted to leave. You can cheat with wash.
And you can layer it with wash, it's just a matter of sending out the paint.
More dense color. So, and
I think that-
it doesn't go on as easily.
Okay, here.
So it's somewhere you will really.
Okay.
What's in wash?
Right. I used to always work with water, but trying to let it wash and it's not been easy. It's, I'm sorry, I don't think both.
They're both, these are nice, Carol.
Yeah, she's.
This is,
I would have thought this was watercolor, because it's so fine and.
Carol, you're smart at making this water. Doesn't seem like watercolor.
And I didn't use much water.
Yeah.
I did do a lot more correctly. That's why I was kind of put it down, but. They're both water. I never used to.
Yeah.
The light can be like doing this, it makes it white.
I think I told you that I water.
Water.
But in general, with the wash. Using more water doesn't make it paler, it just makes it.
Yeah.
But I do have a set of wash that has a lot of color, so it just came that color, and I didn't use a lot of water. I put water first, and so to me, it looks like, better water. See,
Okay. I don't do tables usually, I'm not very great at explaining, so please, stop me and asking questions.
They were not paying you an honorarium.
Uh,
Good.
But, I've been painting in oil. And I use both brushes and knives. And knives painting is a very different field, but a lot of texture. And also going much faster, because I like about it. And typically I like paint seascapes or sunsets. And what you have here is mostly seascapes. And done this as a more of a impressionist sunset. So I just played it. It's basically a very informal technique and storytelling. So, I can, typically, I like to do these waves, a lot of spray. And sometimes I get into abstract, so. Given what I'm going to do today, it's a 12 by 12 canvas. Would I take a hold of what kind of subject you would like to see? I could either do just waves and clouds, or just a wave like the big one here, or an abstract. Any preference? Any input?
Whatever you waves.
Wave, wave like a big central concept. So I just did one, so I'm going to style it after that, because it'll just go faster and easier for me as a demo. And
What is brush and what is knife?
everything is nice.
Everything there is knife.
Yeah, there's, I use knife differently. I mean, in this one, you can press down the knife and then, make it real flat. That's what I done. That's why maybe it's like more.
Oh, yeah.
It's, everything is purely knife.
Uh-huh.
I rarely use brush on top of knife. You can do that. Sometimes I do it. Correct or add some more layer.
Yeah.
Do you use different kinds?
Yes,
Wow. Anil, do you use different kinds of palette knives?
I use various kind of product sort of selection.
Oh, yeah.
The shape and the way you use them also, because sometimes that portion is really
Yeah.
nice.
I haven't tried that.
And I mean, typically people use these and they don't use the edges as much. Using the edges gives you the effect, and also using the back part. If you sort of keep pushing it, also, and when the paint gets very tacky as it dries, it gives a very different texture effect. Which is. This is what I have here. It's kind of that really passage.
Wow.
That would be effect of this.
Is
I think that
this
that
is
was.
acrylic.
This is
Oil.
oil. Yeah. Hopefully, nobody is too sensitive to the oil, but hopefully it won't be too bad. There's some of that. So I'm going to pass it up to the way I painted, so, and as I said, I go quite informal. Can everybody see it from the side?
Yeah.
Stick each other out.
What I do is start with some white, but I'm going to start actually with some color first. I'm going to have the wave going this way. And the bottom is dark. And I'm going to put some blue here. And then on top is this.
Got my technique.
I,
Putting paint directly on the canvas.
Who needs a palette, right?
sometimes I don't, especially with night painting.
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just mix on the canvas.
Directly on the canvas.
Yes. And I also do most of my mixing on canvas.
This is too, but
Yeah.
there are no mistakes, come on, Charlotte, you know that. You know that.
There is always time to correct the oil. Doesn't dry for hours. So.
Yeah.
Want to get some emerald greens in here. No, the way Then I started using white. So,
White.
so this is like a child's play.
Yeah.
You really do, and that's what I like about water because it has no form, it's shape, right?
That's great, the way you do that.
Okay.
There is a. Many ways to paint it, there are.
Yeah. But
Just
I
hard to-
never thought of doing it that way, and that makes a lot more sense to use the knife.
Yes, and it's
Yeah.
very fast.
I did, I used it.
Yeah, I mean, you use a little bit round knife.
I was trying to use knives and. Was it?
You know, obviously you have to sort of think of how the wave is going. Give it some shape. I got it white on the canvas. And it doesn't matter if you get the green here because you know you see the greenish hues in the water. You have the greenish hues.
Wow.
It's not a very stark canvas unfortunately. Purple water, so I'm going to make it a bit more bluish here. It's not purple the shade, so it just
You have a little competition back there, as the water boiler is making noise. It's very,
I do.
I mean, it was just hard to hear because of.
Okay, I have to speak louder.
That's the sound of the wave.
Yeah. Sounds like that, yeah.
It's a dark. Yeah, but much blue there. Yeah, I'm going to try and use a very fine knife just to see what happens. I really don't care until it starts taking some shape.
But when you paint, you don't look at any photos or anything.
I usually do. I usually do. Yeah, but this is, I just finished a wave like this, so I got a little
Yeah,
bit.
you got it in your head.
Yeah, I got it in my head. Otherwise, no, I always
They look there.
something like this abstract, sunset, then that just coming out, wherever the paint is.
No, no. Who's painting?
So the night painting goes faster and I'm moving a little fast also, because I just want to get to some point where it looks like a painting right now, it's just looking like.
Yeah, I guess you can't cut glass that fast, huh?
No.
You can't cut glass that fast.
No.
No.
I usually paint sugar glass with the direct application method.
Yeah.
You can usually get a painting done in or 2 hours.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but
He doesn't talk so much.
not when I'm concentrating, but
And she died. She died. Right, but I was talking about actions.
Oh, yeah.
Make the sky a little dark, whiter. You guys get the idea, I mean, basically you on stages,
Then also the pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So that removes out that color really well, huh?
Yeah.
You can really smooth that color out.
yeah, and that's why you use different knives where if there's more flat area,
Yeah.
you can press it down. This area is mostly foam.
You always, when you paint, you always apply your paint first to the canvas, or do you use a palette?
For brush painting, I use palette, but I do most of the mixing on canvas. I start, maybe do some mixing on the palette, but a lot of the shading and fine mixing is on the canvas, blending.
But what happens when you paint a big one? But the paint knife is so small. You have a giant knife?
I have some bigger knives too, yeah, I've done some knives that are.
Somebody sold us.
Yes. I've done, you go to our website, I've done painting that are 40 by 30 with knife, and those. You do quite big knife.
Bigger knives.
Yeah. If you're interested, we just, 2 weeks ago, we installed our show at the Altos, Hills Town Hall. So, Charlie also painted, she does acrylics, abstract, so both our paintings are there. Really nice venue to be there. Altos Hills Town Hall.
Oh, yeah,
The city hall basically,
yeah.
but then multiple areas, they have big, meeting room for the attendee. And then they have a couple of conference rooms, lunch room. I think we installed about 45 paintings there, so it's large venue.
And how long is it there?
Yeah.
It will be there through August or September. Yeah,
And it's just the two of you?
there's 2 of us, right? Yeah. So they have like 6 month slots.
Danielle.
Yeah. Daniel is a curator, she used to be part of the, Daniel of Greenwich.
Yeah. So did you?
Oh, there's a big flag.
Did you put the sign up?
So here I'm going to use this one, it's a different shape. I could use the pointed one. Basically, this foam over here that I want. Okay.
Why are you that high?
To sort of spread it faster, but also once it gets tacky, what will happen is if I want to paint clouds, I can put clouds over here. So this is a trick that I started liking because it starts giving you texture. And because the paint is a little tacky, it's mixing it right on the spot. So here I want to bring the spray, just not all white.
Yeah.
And does a nice trick. Also on the top where you have the spray going out. Of course, you can pull the spray out. And it comes up with that texture as you do pulling it out.
You use any solvents with your,
Usually not with palette knives. Sometimes I use the liquid, right? Which dries faster. But other than that, not oils and anything like that. For brush painting, I use some. And I like walnut oil. Discovered that recently, and that much better than linseed oil for me. Walnut oil. I think linseed oil I find it sweety and gooey.
Yeah.
This is lot smoother, there's a little more. It's thinner, but not really thin. It's not like a solid.
Well, the smell of it.
Like food grade, like we're just talking non-toxic here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good tip too.
Yeah.
Start giving it some shape now.
So this is oil,
This is oil.
But I don't smell it.
Right.
Yeah, the solid.
No, I'm kind of used to the smell, so I'm glad you're not smelling.
no, I don't.
Maybe you're far away from it. But the thinner scale is very much more than the paint, in my opinion. You know, if I start using varnish or linseed oil or something like that. They have a much stronger smell than the
Yeah.
paint itself.
The walnut oil is smoother.
It's thinner and it goes smoother, and it's not as sticky or gooey as linseed oil.
Have your own space, yeah.
Yes, that's important.
Oh, okay.
And we get a little peek.
You get a little peek.
Try and get the foam here. You can also scrape the paint out and get a different effect. Like here. Where the it makes the water, it's a darker area.
So was this all in your head?
Well, yeah, it is, but I just, 2 days ago I did a similar way, so it's still there.
He does a lot of waves.
Yes. Yeah,
I noticed that on your paintings, you've gone around the edge. and
Yes.
Continue the same color now, you didn't do it here, so do you go back and do that
and
later?
usually I do it at the same time,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
just
that's
now
what I was
just for
wondering,
time.
how do you get the same colors?
Yeah. Yeah, I usually do it at the same time, but, yeah, right now I'm not doing it just for time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good to do that, though, because then you don't have to frame it.
Right. So the other paintings that are here, are these all finished, or are you like working on it, these?
No, these are finished,
They are finished.
And same technique.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's like the way this area is working, so. Partly because I'm working from memory, it's not doing very well.
You ever put a surfer in?
Just once. It was challenging. I don't really like you put your figure in there. Outside waters are much more fun, you don't have to be precise. Yes.
Teacher also, or? Yes or no?
No. Don't think I can be very detailed. Don't have enough patience.
Oh, yeah,
On the website.
yes.
Do you see the color under the way, you have any other colors? Prism or something like that? Color, different green and blue, white.
I don't use too many colors. Yeah.
You don't see something.
Not into that.
Sometimes, yeah, but mostly at sunset. I think.
Or sunset.
Yeah. I mean, I think I tend to use a lot of primary colors, primary meaning this, more monochrome.
Here, where those? Oh, this is- No, it can be seen on.
What are you showing? Well, that's not, it's not a bright people.
Probably not.
Oh, my goodness.
Where is this?
Here it's not.
In Hawaii? No, how to.
Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
No, more where? Don't know the area.
Yeah, I guess I was so good.
We give them a few.
Oh, I know. They told me all the horror stories when I was.
No, but the farm that. Yeah. I'm not sure it's. There's too much of it. It's working.
Oh, how are we doing on time?
It's 8:20.
Okay, it's good time.
Or you can stop anytime.
Well, it's not done, so that's why I asked. It's not.
I want to go home. If that gets totally dry, then you go.
Maybe not where I want it to be, but
There's a question with all us.
Yes.
If that dries totally, can you go back still and paint on it?
yes, yes. And I've done a little bit of brush and sometimes on those. But we can, I mean, a lot of times I will do a painting over 2 days. Right, so it's tacky the next day, and some areas that are too wet, I a little bit, and then work on it a little bit more. Right now it's very, parts I put too much paint, it's quite soggy. And so it's hard to shape it. A little bit sculpting on the canvas with the edges. Give it shape there.
So if you were gonna do both, you kind of have to wait.
Yes.
And do you keep paints at Nikki's?
Um,
Do you keep paints at your son's at Nikki's?
No,
No, you brought.
no, it's all enough.
Yeah.
And I've tried, it's not the right, it's
The light is much.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, I did. So, I forget.
photo that I use, there's a lot more white here, and that's what it's like. It has to go in the direction that you think the water is going. Makes it easier. Once or twice I tried once with Eric and once. Those are the rare instances. Different skill altogether.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, there's no edge.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
there's no edge, yes, and I think I'm challenged at getting the feel of it and the depth and everything. So it just.
Yeah.
The spray.
Just the way I showed you, I mean, basically, I put more paint on it
Wow, yeah.
Little more paint, white say, and then just go like this, or, you know, it gives a spray effect.
Kind of bouncing.
But it's a recording.
No, I think it was, you wasn't in the report. Oh, I, wasn't. So I.
That's-
How much they do.
Wow.
That white basically.
Yes, the white definitely brings the action on it.
I know. It's fun to see them think of.
Yeah.
So we did what, before they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thing about night painting is you don't know what's going to happen underneath. But there's time to be working if you don't like it, so.
So does the underneath color pop through sometimes and you didn't expect it or something?
Yes, and you can then just layer over it, or you can scrape it if I don't like it, and then so you know, there's not much white underneath it, but sometimes the white underneath will pop up, and that looks nice too. It's a very heavy effect. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Now, how are we gonna get home?
This is a She's good at asking embarrassing questions.
Sometimes you can buy a kind of frame or something like that.
This shirt.
Kind of float and.
Yes, it's not, whatever.
Oh, you have.
Sure, see that. That works.
Yeah. Yeah. I usually try to wear aprons for some reason. I didn't that time.
So that should.
Yes.